just very work hard during practice, but then super friendly afterwards. So a good balance of being tough to get you to work hard, but then like congratulatory when you did something well, and just a good person in general.
Combat environment, shooting down and destroying a one-way attack drone targeting the aircraft carrier.
Welcome to the Elevate Your Leadership podcast series with U.S. Navy Special Operations veteran, CEO, and hockey fanatic Bob Pizzini. Bob discusses leadership, success, failure, defining moments, and hard lessons learned with guests who are intentional in their approach to leadership. Leadership is a perishable skill. Use it or lose it. In this series, entrepreneurs, industry executives, academics, public figures, and other highly effective professionals share their formulas for success with you.
Welcome, everybody, to this episode of the Elevate Your Leadership podcast with me, your host, Bob Pizzini. Hey, exciting news regarding my guest today, but also exciting news regarding a new podcast that I'm starting with a wonderful friend of mine, Marty Strong, and it's going to be the Bob Pizzini Show. So we're going to record our first episodes in March at Marty's studio down in Florida. So keep your eyes and ears open for the Bob Pizzini Show. That'll be an expanded version of Elevate Your Leadership, kind of the evolution, the next thing. And I'm really excited to be working with Marty and his group and in a much larger network and a much larger broadcast system. Okay, back to today's show. I have as my guest, call sign Big Perm. Her name is Alexandra or Alex Mensing, and I've known Alex for a number of years through mutual friends. Alex is an FA-18 pilot. She's a fighter pilot, and she's done cool things, and she's going on to do super cool things in her career. And Alex, say hello real quick.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited. This is an awesome experience.
This is super cool. Thank you so much. And I'm going to read Alex or Big Perm's bio, which is also very cool. This woman is very accomplished. So here we go. Alexandra Big Perm Mensing is a native of Raleigh, North Carolina, and grew up playing travel volleyball along with any other sports she could get her hands on, including tennis, track, and swim team. Clearly, you're very athletic. She was a member of the National Honor Society, led her high school's community service program, and participated in theater and played the French horn. Do you still play?
Sometimes. I do have one at home.
Okay. All right. That's cool. Side discussion there with my son and him giving up the trumpet. The kid was brilliant. But anyway, at the U.S. Naval Academy, she studied in Chile for 1 month, and then at Escuela Naval Militar. Can you help me with that, please?
La Escuela Naval Militar.
Okay. All right. I have a Colombian friend I need to introduce you to.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. And she was an exchange student with the Spanish Navy. During her freshman summer training, Big Perm traveled to Washington State for a 21-day backpacking trip focused on leadership and survival training. Mount Rainier?
No, it was in the Cascades.
Okay.
But it was awesome.
Yeah, a lot of mountains out there. She graduated in 2013 with a Bachelor of Science in Aerospace Engineering, focused on astronautical engineering, and a Spanish minor. Okay, a couple questions there. Obviously, you hablan español.
Sí.
So I don't, and you can hear my European accent there. And then astronautical engineering, and we're going to get into the broader discussion here, but do you have an interest in becoming a astronaut?
I've definitely considered it a lot.
Like not the Blue Origin type, you know, where Katy Perry goes to outer space for a minute and a half.
yeah, the real one.
Yeah. Okay, but you definitely considered it.
I have. Yeah. So because I got to do test pilot school up in Patuxent River, that's definitely a big stepping stone on the path to becoming astronaut. So kind of, honestly, ever since I was at the academy, some of my professors were test pilots and mission commanders for shuttle missions, kind of like what we were talking about earlier. And that already just like sparked my interest. So since the academy, I've thought about it. And I mean, getting jet pilot spot was a step, then test pilot school was another step. I have some friends who have applied and made it to finals. I know some people who are there now. So it's
a possibility.
Yes.
Okay. That is awesome. It is a possibility. Wow. That is super exciting. You know, I had Susan Kilrain on the show probably about a year and a half or so ago, and she is a retired Navy commander. She flew the F-14, the Tomcat.
Oh, nice.
But she was a test pilot as well, as you just laid out. But she was, I believe, the commanding pilot on 2 space shuttle missions.
That's amazing.
Both on the Columbia. And, you know, unfortunately, the Columbia came apart upon reentry a few years back, and that was after her time as an astronaut. But
wow,
super exciting episode. Go back and listen to that one. Susan Kilrain on the Elevate Your Leadership podcast. Really exciting. All right, we're going to continue on. After flight school, Perm was selected to fly the FA-18 E and F models. So I hang around you aviators, and you guys always talk about these lettered models. What's the difference between the E and the F?
It just means single versus 2-seat. So we all have the same mission, but an Echo is a single seat and a Foxtrot is a 2-seat, both versions of the Super Hornet.
Okay, cool. And what do I have to do to get a ride in a Foxtrot in a 2-seater?
I'll see what I can do.
Okay, all right, super cool. All right, she deployed 3 times with Carrier Air Wing 1 aboard the USS Harry S. Truman from 2016 to 2020. During those deployments, she flew in support of Operation Inherent Resolve and multiple NATO exercises from the Arctic Circle to the Gulf of Oman. And we have a couple really cool photos. One, you're standing in front of the aircraft with your name on it, and that is aboard the Truman, I take it?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And although that aircraft has your name on the side of it, I did a carrier deployment when I was in EOD Tech. The Kitty Hawk, which was the last non-nuclear carrier. But even though that aircraft has your name on the side of it, that's not your aircraft. Is that correct?
Right. Well, I mean, you kind of call it your aircraft, but you don't necessarily fly it every time. So whatever jets are available, those are the ones you'll be flying that day.
Right.
But everyone has a little special place in their heart for their jet, the one
sure.
that has their name on it.
For sure. Mm-hmm. Okay. So do you like customize the cockpit to your, like you put little fuzzy dice on the on the mirror? I know there's a mirror in there, right? So
there's
a rear view. Yeah.
I wish.
Okay.
Put all your little pictures and stickers and stuff.
Yeah. No,
they might not like that.
No little girly touches, huh? Okay. Cool. So really cool picture though, and there's the one of you standing in front of the aircraft on the flight deck, and then the other one, you are clearly flying the aircraft. It's amazing. You look a little bit different in that photo. I don't know if you're doing G-forces at the time or what, but I just thought you looked a little bit different. Of course, I'm not used to seeing you, in mission mode.
A little more serious.
Yeah, exactly. All right, big Perm, and then. And we're going to talk about those missiles because you used those missiles, and they have the yellow stripe, which means high explosive, meaning those are active pieces of ordnance, and we'll get into that here in just a little bit. Big Perm was selected to attend the United States Naval Test Pilot, where she flew 17 different aircraft, including jets, propeller-driven aircraft, helicopters, and a glider. Mm-hmm. What kind of glider? Like the kind you see civilians flying?
It looks essentially the same. The one they have at test pilot school is actually technically experimental. So that's the one, I forget what the number is honestly, but it's X
Nobody cares
TAC,
about. Okay.
the number. Yeah. So it's pretty cool to be able to say we technically flew an experimental aircraft. But it's just the really long, skinny wing type.
Yeah.
Dual cockpit tandem. So the instructor's with you.
Oh, gotcha.
We don't get qualified, but still, just to try it.
No kidding.
It's amazing.
So what is the tow aircraft to get that glider airborne?
We used a Beaver, so a UH-1, and it's just an old school rotary engine.
Okay.
So we get to fly that also, which is pretty. Am I allowed to say badass?
Yeah, hell, you say whatever you want.
Pretty badass.
Yeah.
So, those were my favorite times at test pilot school, just flying all the different platforms.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That sounds cool. Any tail ramp aircraft?
Yep.
Okay.
The Beaver is one of them.
Oh, it is.
The Otter is the bigger version.
Yeah. Okay.
So we fly that one also.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the Otter from Jump Ops.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Beaver, I haven't heard of that one though. For it's a tail ramp. What's its technical kind of?
It was
nomenclature?
the U-1, I believe. I think it's like UH-1. That's a helicopter. The U-1, it's the one U-1 and the U-6 are the two. Sometimes I get them mixed up.
Okay. The tail ramp, so like troop jump capable, perhaps?
It's not so much military. It was, I think it's used in Canada a lot. They can put floats on it or skis on it.
Okay.
So it's really like multi-purpose.
Yeah.
But not so much for like military.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right, where was I here? Multiple aircraft, helicopters, and a glider. She tested multiple projects, including carrier-based systems, software upgrades, and new weapons systems. Big Perm then deployed once again on the USS Harry Truman from the Arctic Circle to the Red Sea. Her air wing flew in support of operations Inherent Resolve, Poseidon Archer, and Rough Rider in Syria and off the coast of Yemen. She employed, this is the cool part, people, she employed air-to-surface ordnance and became the first female naval aviator to employ the AIM-120. That's an air intermediate missile. AIM?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually don't know what AIM stands for.
Okay, sorry to put you on the spot there.
That's okay. But it's, the AMRAAM.
Yeah, the AMRAAM, air-to-air, I think it's medium range is what it stands for. So I used to know all this when I was an EOD tech. Air-to-air, the AIM-120 air-to-air missile in a combat environment, shooting down and destroying a one-way attack drone targeting the aircraft carrier. That's pretty cool. That was all over the news a few years ago. Yeah, I remember that. Was that the same deployment where an FA-18 was shot down?
Yes.
Unfortunately, by friendly fire. Yeah, wow. And that was a aircraft from your wing or off the carrier you were on?
That was off the Truman in my air wing. Yeah, I was actually airborne, or I had just landed when it happened.
Wow.
So that was an eventful night for sure.
Yeah, eventful. Well put. She looks forward to the next chapter in her life, serving in the U.S. Navy Reserve and interning with NASA Langley this spring. Super cool introduction. I mean, you've done a lot, and you've done things at the highest level of national security, you could say. And welcome to the Elevate Your Leadership podcast.
Thanks, Bob.
So, all right, I always like to start by getting to know the guests. And the way we get to know people is where you grew up, what your childhood was like, because that's largely how we became who we are, you know. And you got ahead of me. You kind of laid it out, some of the key questions I asked. But you played sports as a kid.
Yep.
Sports was a big influence in my life as a child. I coach hockey now, and through all of our coaching network, we really try and have a positive influence on little kids and young adults, right, the whole way through. Can you just kind of talk about the influence that sports had on you growing up?
Sure. I mean, I think it's so important to get kids to go outside and play with each other and have fun and like be active and in shape. That I love that. Like whenever I see kids around here just outside doing things, it just makes me smile. But for me, that's what we did. Like, sure, if it was rainy, you might stay inside. But otherwise, I lived in a really kid-friendly neighborhood, which was great. So a couple blocks away, we had some tennis courts that were open and a swimming pool. So the classic, go to the pool during the day. And then actually at night, we would go play tennis when the lights would turn on.
Cool.
Yeah, there was one guy, his name was Shane, and I never beat him. And I was always so frustrated because we used to go back and forth, like deuce and add in, add out, like over and over. And it was just so much fun.
But you never got him till this day? You never beat him?
Maybe once. I feel like no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Track him down and keep that grudge match going.
Right.
So that's cool. So did any coaches, any memorable coaches during your athletic career as a child?
Yeah, definitely. I remember for volleyball, I had a coach Lee. He was an Asian gentleman who was awesome. And I was a setter primarily. And so they're the ones that like you pass the ball and then you set it up for someone to hit it. So I was a setter, and he was just like perfect every time. And I always tried to watch him and learn, and like how he just makes it look so smooth. So he was a great influence. Just very work hard during practice, but then super friendly afterwards. So a good balance of being tough to get you to work hard, but then like congratulatory when you did something well, and just a good person in general.
Yeah, so cool. So many people that I talk to, have these very similar memories, and those coaches had a positive influence on their life. And coaches can influence positively and negatively, right? We also have most of us have coaches that we remember in a negative way, but the fact that there's still a lesson that we learned from those coaches that we weren't crazy about. So that's pretty cool. You didn't list it here, I'm surprised. Did you have any jobs in high school?
I actually didn't. I did the typical babysitting, but overall, I was very focused on school. I did a lot of community service, so that was school, volunteering, and travel volleyball. I just didn't have a lot of time. I'm an only child, so I'm sure that played a part. We definitely were like typical middle-class family. So we shared the car. I didn't have my own car, things like that. But I was really lucky. Yeah. My parents were super supportive with everything, of course. My mom actually liked to volunteer with me, so we would go together often. And then they both just liked coming to practices and games with me. So it was a family affair most of the time.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So I imagine if I had siblings, then it probably would have been a different story. But it was definitely very...
You got all the attention.
Yep. Yeah, that's true.
Okay. No, that's great. And then at some point, was it in high school? At some point, or at what point did you decide, hey, I'm interested in the Naval Academy and naval aviation?
Sure. It was actually later in life. I know a lot of people tell the stories where they're 3 and 4, love airplanes.
Yeah.
Like Johan, our neighbor's kid, he's always like, oh, there's an airplane.
Yeah.
But I always I always wanted to say that I could be a marine biologist when I was little. I've just always loved animals and nature and things like that. But then once I got into high school, my freshman year, my dad was a Marine way back in the day.
Okay, double dog.
Oh yeah, during the Vietnam era. And my uncle was a retired colonel. So they both mentioned the academies in general to me. And then I looked into all three. I never really looked at Coast Guard because I knew I wanted to fly. So I went to the Naval Academy for an over the summer kind of intro. It was 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah. What do they call that? Summer
seminar.
Yeah,
Yep.
Summer seminar. That's right.
Yeah.
My nephew went to that. And
Oh, nice.
yeah, we all went up there with him.
Okay.
It was fun.
Yeah. So it's a great intro. And I came out of that and I loved it. It was still a tough decision though. I was pretty torn between either Georgia Tech or the Naval Academy. Because Georgia Tech has good volleyball and engineering. So I knew at that point I wanted to do some kind of engineering and I wanted to keep playing volleyball. So it's definitely tough to decide, but I'm so glad I chose the academy because I just wanted the challenge. I wanted something different and I knew it would be tough, but I was like, man, there are going to be so many cool connections, so many cool things I'll get to do and see.
For sure.
It's going to be worth it.
Yeah.
So
no regrets.
No.
Yeah,
definitely.
that's cool. And you probably wouldn't have wound up here on the Elevate Your Leadership podcast had you gone to Georgia Tech. So,
True.
That's
Lucky me.
The big win. So that's cool. Okay, so you were obviously very busy at the Naval Academy. The Naval Academy has these summer programs. We here at iFly Virginia Beach, we get cadets who want to get into SEALs or EOD or some form of Navy Special Operations. And so we'll have them down here at iFly Virginia Beach. We'll fly them. The local EOD teams host them, bring them in, and amongst the various things they do over their summer session. What's it called? Summer?
The summer trainings.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but we see cadets along those lines as well, and we're super happy to do it. Absolutely love it. And you did a lot of cool stuff. So let's talk just a little bit about that mountain climbing in Washington State.
Sure.
Was selection tough? And what was that experience like?
It was awesome. I still think about it to this day. It was through the National Outdoor Leadership School, so NOLS for short. So the Naval Academy partners with them. I'm assuming they still do. But it was an application process. So they, what you're alluding to, they're divided into typically 3 blocks. So the 3 months of summer, you have a different training. So you typically have 1 month that's actually vacation, and then 1 month that's more military focused training. And then the 3rd month, you have an option to kind of do something different. So I had my military training, and then I applied for this program for the little less military focused. But it was amazing. We went to Washington State, and they gear you up with all the stuff. It was like a 70-pound pack, like whatever, the big 90-liter or something. And it's a handful of people all from the academy. So you get to know people in different grades, just, again, getting to know more people at school.
Yeah, 21 days with a group, you get to know people for sure.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. No showers, no deodorant, because they are all about leave no trace. So we had to have like the camp soap. They truly wouldn't let us wear deodorant. No showers.
Bear spray, your bear kit, hang your stuff high.
Yep. Yeah, we had the bear cans and everything.
Yeah.
But we
Did you say bear or beer?
Oh, bear, unfortunately.
Okay, all right. Beer came after day 21. I hope.
Exactly. But it was a great combination of just being outdoors and learning how to survival skills. So we had the basic things. It wasn't like naked and afraid, like you're out there with nothing.
Right.
But how to build a fire, how to find food, things like that. But then we would pause at the end of every day, and someone would kind of be the designated like trail leader for the day. So reading the maps and figuring out the right pathway and things like that. And then we would kind of debrief it at the end of the day. We had a little journal where we would write what we learned that day, like what was frustrating, what did we learn from that experience, things like that. So it was a really awesome combination of the leadership experience and just having an awesome camping experience as well.
Yeah, man, that sounds really cool. Did you go to SERE school?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Did that help in any way prepare you for SERE?
I think so. Yeah. I would say definitely.
Okay. SERE's much more extreme, obviously. So survival, escape, evade, survive,
evade, resist, and escape.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Been a long time. So, okay, cool. So, as a forward deployed naval aviator, do all naval aviators go to SERE now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. You have to.
Okay. And is that prior to your first air wing, or like while you're at your first air wing?
It's after your final portion of like the basic flight school before you actually go to the F-18. So you've gone through, they start you all the way on a little Cessna and then move you up to a T-6, which is a little more powerful prop plane. Then a T-45 is the single engine jet. So then right after that, before you start the F-18 is when you do SERE school.
Oh, okay.
And if you don't pass, then you can't continue.
Yeah,
like you'll get pushed into something else.
Wow. Okay, that makes sense. So any memorable moments from SERE school other than all of it? I mean,
all of it. But yeah, I mean, the beginning they teach you more survival. So they just go in the steps of the acronym. So the survival, they'll teach you again how to make a fire, how to build a shelter, things like that. And mine was in Maine in the middle of January.
Okay.
So it was a lot of snow survival, which was interesting because I'm from North Carolina, so I haven't really had a ton of snowy experience. So that was interesting, like learning how to build a shelter and use the snow for extra heat and things like that. And then it turns into the evasion where you have to evade. I can't give too many details, but you're out in the woods. You have to try and escape. But I mean, eventually they catch you because you have to practice that kind of stuff in case an actual POW situation ever comes up. So it was, that part was very interesting. It's a lot more psychological than I pictured at first. Like for your own mind, just to know what to expect. And then for the potential captor side as well, to learn like, okay, how do I make myself seem like a human? Like to try and make as much of a connection as you can to like keep yourself alive, essentially. So I think that was the most interesting thing for me, was the psychological aspect of it.
Okay, cool. Well, thank goodness you haven't had to use those skills in during a real deployment, and hopefully you won't going forward.
I agree.
So in the Naval Academy, I'm jumping back here just a little bit.
Sure.
So how do you select and get accepted? How do you apply for and then get selected for aviation? And then on top of that, fighter aircraft.
Yeah. It's a long process. So when you get there, everyone's the same. Like no one knows what they're going to get. It's not like OCS where you apply for like the billet that you want.
Yeah.
When you're accepted, you're just at the academy, and then over time through those summer trainings, mostly you learn about all the different facets. So they'll give you a little taste of like the SWO life, Marines,
Surface warfare officer, or what we affectionately call ship drivers. Yeah.
Yep.
Marines, devil dogs, love them.
Oh yeah.
I've deployed all over the world with them.
Nice.
They're always good to have around.
Yeah, I bet. They're the tough ones for sure. I mean, spec ops guys too. That's one where you have to apply as well, or you put in some extra effort to get more experience with them, which totally makes sense. But yeah, the aviation side, when I first got there, I was open, like I wasn't positive what I wanted. I was like, I like being on the water, maybe I'd want to be a SWO, or I like doing the obstacle course, maybe I'll be a Marine. But then once I saw the training with flying, where we actually get in a plane and get to explore, and like I did a loop, I remember, and I was like, all right, this is what I want to do.
Wow.
Like, this is amazing.
So when you applied for the Naval Academy, aviation was not like front and center on your radar?
No, it was definitely up there.
Okay. Okay. All right.
I mean, at the time, yeah, I wasn't sure. I had no real like close friends who had done anything like that. Like I said, my dad and my uncle, but they didn't fly. So it wasn't like ingrained in me from the start. But yeah, once I got there and got to see it, it immediately was like, yep, this is what I want.
Okay.
Because it wasn't a desk job. It was active. It was athletic in a way.
For sure.
With the hand-eye coordination, things like that.
Yeah.
And
G-forces.
I mean, yeah, exactly. It's definitely a toll on your body after a while. But it's a workout. Like when you're doing BFM, so like pretend dog fighting.
What's BFM?
Basic fighter maneuvering.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, like dog fighting.
Turning hard, pulling G's. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, you're sweaty by the end for sure.
Does it get bumpy like when you fly through clouds or bad weather, you know, like on a commercial airliner, you know, hey, put your seatbelt on, take your seat, we're experiencing turbulence. Do you get that in an FA-18, or does an FA-18 just chop the sky to pieces?
It pretty much chops the sky to pieces. I'm just kidding. But no, you can get turbulence for sure. If it's, I mean, we try to avoid clouds and storm clouds, especially just for lightning strikes and icing and things like that. But that's just kind of general aviation. But yeah, if you go through a cloud, even on a sunny day, if it's like bumpy, then you'll bounce around a little bit.
Yeah.
But we're fully strapped in. So we have like our shoulder straps for the actual parachute. We have like straps down at our hips that like keep us really pulled into the seat. And then you have a couple around your legs too, for an ejection scenario to pull your feet in. So you're pretty set. You're like stuck to the seat. You can't really move around much.
Okay. So that turbulence, but better than a seatbelt. You got better than a 5-point harness. You got like what, an 8 or 10-point harness? It sounds like. Okay. So and just, is it still the Martin Baker or the? It is. Okay. Or the Aces 2, I think was the other one. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're Martin Baker.
Okay, so that's the ejection seat, and you know, this aircraft, which is essentially a rocket, has another rocket underneath the seat, and that's what ejects the pilot when they eject. So the seat is called because there's explosives in the seat that actuate the rocket for ejection. Navy EOD techs are familiar with that type of seat. So pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry. Can I?
Yeah.
Quick plug from me.
For sure.
Unsponsored for Martin Baker, but I have friends who survived because of those seats. So like, it's really amazing. Like the deployment we were talking about, 4 people total, 2 jets, 4 people had to eject for different scenarios. And one of them was about 90 degrees when they pulled the handle, and they shot straight out, and we were watching.
What was their altitude? Were they at sufficient altitude?
No, they were at like flight deck level.
Oh,
so
wow.
Probably a little bit lower actually, so probably like 50 feet.
Oh, wow.
And they survived.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's amazing technology.
Yeah, wow, that's folks, if you want to go on YouTube and watch videos of like test pilot ejections and real ejections, it's pretty interesting how all that stuff goes down. Wow. Okay, so you selected. That must have been like a super awesome day when you find out. How'd you find out?
Oh yeah. So sorry, I never actually answered your question. You put in your preferences fall of your senior year. You finally put in your dream sheet. So like I said, it would be like Navy pilot, Navy NFO, so Naval Flight Officer, so the backseater, Marine Aviation, Marines, submarines, all of that. And then you put your top 5, I think it was. And then you still have to wait a few months until I think it's November-ish. It's pretty much right before Christmas break. And then they finally have service selection is what they call it.
Okay.
So there are 30 companies at the Academy, and each company gets to be pretty tight because those are the people you're with all 4 years.
For sure, yeah.
So they get all the seniors into the room in your company spaces, and then your company officer will come through and just announce what everybody got. And I mean, it's tense. Like everyone's so excited, but so nervous at the same time. They're like, I'm going to get what I want.
Like you don't get an email or, you don't go look at a list. Somebody walks through and reads it off.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And they're coming. So a lot of probably anxiety up to that moment.
Yeah. It was a huge wait. It's just like, the nerves go straight to excitement as soon as you find out. And you get to wear a little mini pin for the rest of the year so everyone knows like what you're going to go do.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's great.
Wow. Okay. So then you got the rest of the year to think about, wow, I'm going to Pensacola next, and I'm just going to think about naval aviation from this point forward. Is part of the selection, like, did they look at your PT scores? Is there a particular PT test for naval aviation like there is for NSW or EOD?
No, it's the same PT.
Okay.
It's definitely a physical job, but not to like EOD SEALs level. But they do look at your grades in school, extracurriculars. So like, because I was astronautical engineering, which is like in the aerospace division, that gets you like an extra point.
It's got to help.
So,
yeah. Could be the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right. So you go down for training, and you talk about training if you want, but my next question is, what happened after you? Well, in training, it's general aviation or something like that, right? And then eventually, how does that work to where you get selected for a particular airframe?
Sure. It's very baby steps. So they start you don't need any flight experience. I had a friend, Christy, at the Academy who had her pilot's license. So we would go up with her sometimes just for fun on the weekends. But other than that, I didn't have any experience other than the summer trainings. So you can start from zero and still make it to the top. So like I mentioned before, a little Cessna, you get 10 hours, you do like one solo flight just to kind of shake off the nerves and be like, cool, I can actually fly a plane by myself.
Do you get a private pilot's certification at that point?
No, actually.
Okay.
You can later on, you can do an equivalency test once you have the hours, because the FAA recognizes that military training is equivalent. And actually, I would argue is more intense because like we go upside down pretty regularly. So like unusual attitudes where you're having to like recognize and recover from strange situations is something we train to a lot. And it's just because we're fortunate to have powerful aircraft where we can do that, because like the typical general aviation airplane can't go upside down. You're not barrel rolling in a Cessna 152. So we're definitely fortunate to be able to train to things like that. So they'll let you take an equivalency exam to get FAA certifications.
All right. Similar in military skydiving. Once you complete the military freefall course, you basically fill out the paperwork, and then you get your USPA license.
Okay, nice. Yeah, sounds the same.
Yeah.
So that first step, everyone's the same. Like helicopters do that as well. And then after the T6 is when you start splitting off. So again, it's based on grades, and you put in your dream sheet again.
Does everybody put in for fighter pilot, or do people put in, I want to fly helicopters, I want to fly the C-130, Do people put in for all those different aircraft?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. There's some people who just want helicopters from the start.
Okay.
There's always kind of the running joke that that people always want jets.
Yeah.
It's definitely not true.
Okay.
There are plenty of people who actually want the other things. So that's something I know. I mean, jet pilots sometimes get the stereotype of like, oh, the cocky, we fly F-18s
For sure.
kind of
I
thing.
mean, Top Gun.
Exactly.
And then
yeah.
Maverick. Come on now.
Yeah.
You know, when you make a movie like that.
Yeah. So we're not all like that, I swear. But yeah, the people who do want jets, there's a cutoff for your grades. So you have to have above a certain number. And then again, it just depends on needs of the Navy and what you put for your preferences. So you can either put, what would it be? Yeah, big wing is kind of like its own chunk, or carrier aviation or helicopters are kind of the big three. So I put jets, and I was fortunate to have the grades and that they just needed jet pilots at the time. So it could be like, you could crush it. I think 80 was the highest that you could get when I was there. I think it's the same. So you could have an 80 NSS, which is the score, and you could still end up getting something you don't want just because the Navy needs a lot of those type of pilots at that time. So that's always a bummer when someone doesn't get what they want just for that reason.
Yeah, right.
You do have the opportunity to try and change later if you're still really passionate about what you didn't get.
Okay.
But yeah, I was fortunate. The timing worked out and I got the grades. So then you go to T-45, which is a single engine jet trainer for about a year. So that whole process was about 2 years. And then you finally get to go to the F-18. And that's another split. There are a lot of branches in flight school.
For sure.
So once you actually get jets, then you either go to Meridian, Mississippi or Kingsville, Texas. And then from there, you can either go to Lemoore, California or here in Virginia Beach.
And you came here, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, luckily. It's what I wanted. And it's been awesome living here. And then there's another split at the end of that process where you either get single seat or 2-seat. And you either stay in Virginia Beach, you could go to Japan, or you could go to Lemoore again.
Okay. Wow. So Japan, NAS at Sugi, or?
It used to be at Sugi. Now they're down in Iwakuni.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I was stationed in Guam for 5 years, spent a lot of time in Japan, and
oh, nice.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff. Well, that's awesome. We're going to get into now your carrier deployments and the cool stuff you did there. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick break for capitalism. As you've heard me say many times before, we're all good capitalists around here, and we will be right back. I want to take a minute to tell you about my book titled Elevate Your Leadership: How to Develop, Maintain, and Advance Lifelong Leadership. This book is based on my 26 years in U.S. Navy Special Operations and now 13 years in the private sector. Leadership is a perishable skill and a personal brand. In part 1, I guide you through building and applying your personal brand of leadership. Leadership also requires physical energy and mental clarity. In part 2, I go over the 6 key components of health and wellness and how you can apply these components every single day to become a great leader. This book is also breathable. What does that mean? It's 170 pages, 12-point font, with charts and graphs and pictures to break up the monotony of reading page after page. Finally, this book is available on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, and of course, RobertPizzini.com. Folks, I want to take a minute and talk about Breeden Construction. Breeden Construction built iFly Virginia Beach 10 years ago, and our building is solid. Why? Building a standard. Our standard is excellence. Visionary thinking, innovative design, dynamic solutions, and transformative growth. While others may see lofty ideals, we see the very foundation needed to construct a better future. This isn't just a promise we make to you, it's the standard we uphold. This is Breeden Construction. Learn more at breedenconstruction.com. Headquartered in Virginia with offices throughout Virginia and North Carolina, you can contact Breeden Construction directly at area code 804-364-4600. Breeden Construction, a national general contractor. All right, here we go. We're talking to Alex Mensing, a.k.a. Perm, call sign Big Perm. I know you as Perm. It's never been Big Perm, but if you haven't picked up on the reference yet, just take a look at this lovely woman and figure out why her call sign is Perm or Big Perm. Pretty
it's
easy.
actually pretty tame right now. It's nice.
Yeah, okay, all right. So that's pretty cool. So after school, you came to Virginia Beach. First deployment. Can you talk about that a little bit?
So mine was unique right from the start. We ended up going up above the Arctic Circle, which hadn't been done since the 80s at the time. So that was a lot of learning.
Yeah, an aircraft carrier. Wow, holy cow, up there. Do they still do the Blue Nose? Did you do the Blue Nose thing?
Yep, we did.
Okay, all right. So when the Navy has some traditions, when you cross the equator, it's called shellback. There's a whole ceremony they do on the ship, and then if you go north to the Arctic, it's called Blue Nose, and there's a lot of rites of passage, they call it, that you go through.
A lot of cold water.
Yeah. Okay.
In the air bay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So rites of passage to be a card-carrying Blue Nose, right?
Yep.
I guess is what they would call it. So okay. So sorry. More about that deployment.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was very interesting. I mean, everybody knows at this point it's kind of poking the bear at Russia, like, hey, we can bring our carriers up here too, kind of hanging off the coast of Norway, just that power projection,
For
essentially. Sure. So nothing combat up there, just showing presence,
Naval
working
presence.
with NATO a lot.
Yeah.
Yep, a lot of NATO allies in the area. So we did a lot of exercises with them, and just kind of proof of concept, again, just for our own operations. Like, what are the challenges going to be when the carrier is icy? Or like if
For sure.
That was really the most interesting thing. Like, we got to see snow on the flight deck. And I mean, for my timeline, everyone on deployment was like, yep, we're just going to go to the Middle East and hang out there for the whole time. It's going to be so hot. Like, make sure you bring your Camelback, make sure you stay hydrated. Like, that's what everyone always pushed. And then they sent us up to the Arctic Circle, and we're like, okay, now we have to get all our cold weather gear. Like, we're not used to this.
Yeah. Where is that stuff? Did I even bring it?
Yeah, exactly. And we have dry suits that we wear when the water's below a certain temperature, in case we do have to eject, just to help with survival times.
For sure.
But there was one point where the water was so cold, they're like, you don't have to wear it because it's not going to make a difference. So we're like, okay, man, well, this is a different situation.
That's comforting.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's, in EOD, we have the bomb suit. And depending on what piece of ordnance you're working on, it's the same thing. It's like,
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But really kind of part of the protection factor is as you approach and as you walk away, because there could be something that's hundreds of pounds of net explosive weight that's going to turn you into a pink mist. Yeah. But if it goes off when I'm, 50 feet away on the approach, maybe the bomb suit will help me out a little bit.
Okay.
Or if it goes off when I'm 50 feet away after I've gone down and done something I shouldn't have done. So, yeah.
Oh. Yeah, so you know what it's like. That's crazy.
A little bit, yeah. It's a little different, but very much the same in terms of risk. So that deployment was basically uneventful, I guess. No combat or anything like that.
Actually, well, yes. So we started up there, but then we did end up going into the Mediterranean, off of Syria for a while, when all of that was kicking off. So lots of time there. I was brand new at the time.
And what year was that, roughly?
That would have been late 2017 into 2018.
Yeah, okay, yep. That's right when Syria was heating up, yep.
Yeah, so I actually didn't do any of those because I was so new. They typically start with the most senior and like Top Gun patch wearers, and then kind of trickle down. So I didn't do any Syria ops that time around. Then we went through the Red Sea and hung out off the Gulf of Oman for a good chunk of time. We never actually went into the Persian Gulf, but we just kind of waited off to the side in case anything happened.
Yeah, you can get there if you need to.
Yeah, exactly. We did do some Afghanistan ops. Everything was quieting down, or it was quiet at the time for the most part. So I did a couple of those. We did a show of force. I mean, no one was really dropping much at that time, but we did some shows of force.
Okay. I would say, so like Afghanistan, JDAMs, did you do any JDAM? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we were loaded up with JDAM and 9Xs for the most part.
Okay.
Because we didn't really have an air-to-air threat, but we typically just carry them anyway, just in case. It actually also helps with aerodynamics for a nerdy point. If you have them on the wingtips, then it's slightly less drag.
Okay.
So we'll usually just carry them anyway.
Well, there you go. There's a tip for the day.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, it was relatively calm there at the time. So it was really just Syria for that deployment. And then I went again during so this was all my junior officer tour, so about 3 years. So we came back, did a mini workup cycle for a few months when it typically takes like 6-ish. We had a condensed version, and then went back out for the dynamic force employment, they were calling it. So we were gone for about 4 months, back to like Mediterranean-ish area. And then they even surprised us, and they're like, hey, we're actually going to come back home for a month. So they brought the carrier all the way home to Norfolk. We had a month at home, and then went back out for another 4. So that was right before COVID kicked off. So I got to come home in March. And the ship unfortunately got stuck for a few more months, just kind of hanging off the coast.
Yeah, extended, right? The deployment got extended, yeah.
Yep, yeah, exactly. By like 2 or 3 months, I think. So I was lucky, and I was about to start test pilot school, and got off the ship right before they had to do that.
Oh, wow.
But that was interesting, the dynamic force employment. I think that was the only time they ended up doing it. I don't know what the big decision makers thought of it, but it was definitely a surprise. I think if we had known it was going to happen, it would have been nice. But I understand that OPSEC, like, they want to keep the enemy on their toes, so they can't really tell us either.
Yeah.
But that was definitely interesting too. I had never heard of a deployment going out, coming back, and then leaving again like that.
Yeah. And sometimes, I'd say oftentimes, those decisions are made at the absolute last minute, It's not like that was planned 6 or 9 months in advance. So yeah, it's just the it's based on the global chessboard, right? What's going on, and
you definitely learn to be flexible.
All right, so Top Gun Maverick, all the political stuff that's going on right now, like what is a woman, and there's so much silliness out there. We have women in EOD. We're really the only special operating force that has women. Now we don't have high numbers of women. We have very low numbers of women because they still have to go through. They got to meet all the PT standards. They have to go through all the same things that everybody else goes through. There's no separation. There's no woman standard and men standard in Navy Special Operations. And I'm sure it's the same in naval aviation. But can you just tell us a little bit about what it's like to be a woman in not only naval aviation, but in this forward deployed combat role where you're putting rounds on target?
Sure. I completely agree. I mean, it's just a fact, like what you said. The standards are the same. And I'm all for that. If a woman can meet the same standard, then there shouldn't be a difference. But if there is a situation where there is more required and she or he can't make that standard, then they just can't fill the role. So for aviation, there's no extra PT, and the standard's the same. And I've always really appreciated that. I've never felt like anyone was treating me differently, which has been great. I mean, it's definitely its own challenge, just being 1 or 2 in a squadron. This last deployment, I actually had the most women I've ever seen. There were, I think, 6 or 7 of us in the air wing.
Out of how many?
Out of a couple hundred.
Okay. 6 or 7 pilots.
Well, there were 3 female F-18 pilots, and then 4 NFOs, so backseaters.
Naval flight officers.
Yes. But that was still the most I had seen so far. So the numbers are slowly growing. But the guys are great. Like I always tell people it feels like me and my 200 brothers when I go on deployment.
For sure.
There are times like where they're getting on your nerves and you're like, oh my gosh, like I just wish I had more like girls to hang out with. But then most of the time it's just, it's great.
Yeah. Well, brothers is the right term. Brothers and sisters is a little more accurate. But, in special operations, it's almost a rite of passage or a privilege to refer to each other as brother. I don't call anybody brother who's not my actual brother, which I do have one that I grew up with. But then within the spec ops realm, and people who I would say who I've gone through the gauntlet with, or I know has gone through the gauntlet, so to speak, those are my brothers and sisters in arms. And so that's a term of endearment, for military folks, I would say, to a large extent. And That's cool. So congratulations, brother.
Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely a bond, especially going on deployment together. Like you know what it's like, and then being stuck on the ship for that long with the same people.
Yeah.
There are times where you're like, oh my gosh, I just want to like rip everybody's heads off. But then 99% of the time, everyone's in it together, and everyone just supports each other. And like, if someone's having a bad day, they'll be there and like pick them up because everyone has that time.
Yeah.
And so it's great.
Yeah,
like
it is
it's
great.
definitely, I would say it's a challenge because, I mean, if you just think about it in the reverse, like if it was one man having to work with even just 20 women, then that would be its own challenge. But no, I've never felt like I've been treated differently or looked at differently.
That's a great way to put it. Think about it in reverse. So what were those numbers again? 6 women out of how many in the squadron?
Oh man, 60, probably like 150 to 200 people.
All right, so that's interesting. Men, think about, and I don't mean this like, you're going to go, oh, that'd be awesome. I would love that. But in a combat environment, but think about it. You're one of 6 men in a 150-person unit, and all the rest are women. That would be interesting to say the least. Mm-hmm. So let's move on to rounds on target. So that would be like your next deployment. Like you came back and did some other stuff, and then went on deployment again when you put rounds down on target.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Can you tell us about that deployment and that particular mission, as much as you can talk about it?
Sure. Yeah. So that was my most recent deployment. The one I mentioned before, came back, then did the whole test pilot school chunk, and then came back a few years later. So it was definitely adjustment getting back into all the tactics also, because in the test pilot world, you're just focused on the plane itself. So you honestly get a little rusty for the tactics side.
For sure.
So yeah, coming back, it was April of 23 when I got back to the squadron. I happened to come back to the same squadron here in Oceana, which isn't typical. Just the timing worked out.
Okay, cool.
And so I ended up deploying on the same ship, the Truman again. We left in September, ended up getting back in May of 25. And this was, the Ike was there right before us, and that was really when all the Houthi madness started kicking off. And then we picked up where they left off. So they really were the ones to start shooting down drones and things like that for the first time in decades. The most recent shoot down was in the teens, I think, like late teens. Mm-hmm. And that was the MiG over Syria. But since then, like, it was so rare to shoot anything air to air. But then the Ike starts shooting down all these drones. So one-way attack drones is what we called them, from Yemen for the most part. They would just
sourced by Iran, obviously, but that's a different discussion. Yeah.
And so it was just a constant flow. It wasn't overwhelming, but it was constant. So yeah, the Ike started developing all the TTPs. Tactics, techniques, and procedures. Yeah. So they laid the foundation for that, and we just built upon it. It was an interesting challenge because they would typically be low and slow, and they're relatively small.
Okay.
So
the drones are low and slow and small.
Yep. Okay. Over the water. So, I mean, if one did happen to hit the carrier, it wouldn't be good, but it wouldn't be catastrophic.
Yeah,
just to put it into perspective. But I mean, if it hit an aircraft, it potentially could be.
For sure.
If it blew up a wing, ran into your wing or something. So yeah, that was an interesting threat that we had never really seen before. So we would stand constant defensive counter air, so DCA is what we call it. So just sending up at least a couple jets at a time to really just circle and have your radars out there looking to see if anything was coming towards the ship. And that's typical. We do that even on the former deployments, just to protect the carrier.
Yeah.
But this time we were actually finding things that we needed to go after. So the E2 would be airborne. They have an awesome radar.
Okay, that's the E2C Hawkeye. It's got the radome, whatever it's called. It's got the big dome on top, and it's looking forward quite a distance. It's looking all over the sky.
Yeah, they actually have 360. And we're up to E2Ds now, even fancier.
Okay.
So yeah, they would be out there. They're awesome. They would 99% of the time find something before we did. And they'd be like, hey, go check out this area. We would go find it, confirm something was actually there. Normally just visually, because the majority of it was nighttime. So they don't have any lights, or they might have like one small light. But
really? So you would visually, at nighttime, you would visually identify a drone?
Yes, like through the FLIR as well, or visually, sorry.
So FLIR, F-L-I-R, forward-looking infrared. So that's your visual, but it's an instrument that's helping you with that.
Yep. Okay. Sorry, I guess I said that wrong. But yeah, typically using that at night, and then daytime, if you could see it, you could use visual as well, but it was typically at night. So we go out there, the E2 says there's one in this area. It's me and another guy with me. And I mean, of course, we're excited. Like at that point.
Now, another guy, you mean another pilot in another airplane, right?
Yes. Two separate single seat
You're in
jets.
an E model.
Yeah.
See, I'm learning.
So at that point, it was common. So everyone was kind of like waiting for their turn. They're like, okay, cool. You got a DCA tonight. Like this is like the good time when we're expecting a lot of them to come. So I mean, of course, we don't want the carrier to get shot.
I was going to say, see how we think? It's like, ooh, I might get to shoot something down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we want to do what we're trained to do.
Yeah, that's 100% it. So we're like, oh man, here we go. Like the E2 found something. So we start heading that direction. But again, because they're low, slow, and relatively small, it's typical to start with the AIM-9X, which is the IR missile. So it picks up on the infrared heat signature. But again, it's so small that it's a hard target for it to lock onto. So we are like doing our rounds, like both of us trying to get a lock on it, and we're not getting anything. And we're like, man, like this thing is here. Like we know it's there. We're starting to pick up like radar track file for it. And we're both just kind of like, we got to get this thing. Like we see it.
What was the range roughly?
I don't know if I can say that.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
It was
don't worry about it.
It was far enough away from the carrier that we had time.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
And they're so slow. Like we had, plenty of time before it was a real threat.
Okay.
They could always, I mean, they talked about like if one did get through, they could use the Sea-Wiz.
Sea-Wiz, for sure. Yeah, take
like
that thing apart in seconds.
Yeah.
Like 1 second. Like not even. Like a millisecond. Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. 3,000 rounds per minute. I think they're faster than that now, but.
I think so, because we're 4,000 rounds per minute.
Wow.
So they can,
Wow.
The Sea-Wiz could crush it.
Yeah.
But we also, we did talk about gunning it too, if we couldn't actually get a lock. No one ended up doing that, but that would have been cool.
Yeah, just to go have some fun. Hey,
right.
We're just going to shoot this thing.
Just target practice. But so eventually I got a lock first and I was like, oh man, here we go. And I squeezed the trigger, and I mean, you can hear it like in the jet. So it's pitch black. I don't even think there was a moon. Or no, I take it back. There was a moon because you could see it on the water. Okay. But it was like clear as night sky.
Can you say what altitude you were at?
We're low. We're down at like 2,000 feet.
Okay.
Just for our safety, honestly, because the drones are maybe a couple hundred feet.
Yeah, they're going to be super low if they're going to hit an aircraft or a ship, rather. Yeah.
Yeah. So just for our own safety, we had that buffer of we're not going to go any lower than this. We'll have to be like a slight dive to typically pick it up, or just to help the sensor. But yeah, just for our own safety, we would stay a little bit higher.
Okay.
So I got the lock. And I squeezed the trigger, and you can hear it in the jet. Even with all the noise of the cockpit and the generators and the engines, you can still hear the whoosh, like as it comes off the rail. Yeah.
Cool.
And you can, of course, like look out and see the rocket motor going off. So I watched it, and I saw it kind of like skip on the water, and I was like, okay, I didn't see an explosion. I think it's still there. And so we came back around again, and it was. So we saw the radar track file again. And just in my defense, it was a valid shot. But they knew that because this target was so unique that it sometimes had some issues actually guiding. And there were questions like possibly the moon like reflected off the water, and because it was such a small signature, that could have distracted it, something like that.
Elon Musk may have had something to do with it,
right?
So yeah, Starlink. So
so came back around again, and I was like, oh my God, like that was my chance. Like, come on, let's go. So came back around again, picked up the radar track file. So at this point I had another 9X, which is another IR missile, and it's a single AIM-120, which is the radar guided missile. And I was like, all right, the 9X didn't hack it. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to that one instead. So we come back around, get a radar track file, which makes it a little bit easier because I don't have to wait for the IR tone.
Okay.
So speaking of like the Top Gun movie, the IR missile will actually give you like a beep to like let you know when it's actually locked onto something. And the radar missile, you just look at your symbology to know. So came back around, got it again, and I was like, oh man, here we go. And I squeezed the trigger on this one. Watched it and it got it. It was just like a giant firework over the water.
Wow.
And because it was so clear, you like see the reflection on the water and it's just, this little fireball. And it was just, my heart was pumping and I was so excited. Like once I actually saw it go away.
For sure.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Holy cow.
I feel like it's just impossible to really describe. It's like your most excited, nervous moment at the same time. And then once it happens, you just like, yes. And you just like fist bump in the jet and you're like, I got it. Like that was mine. And to be able to shoot 2 missiles in a combat scenario in the same flight, I never ever thought I would be able to do that. It was just such a rush.
Wow.
And again, like I don't ever want the carrier to actually be shot at, but when it is your chance, you're like, man, I want to be the one to go do it and use our training, like you said.
For sure. Yeah.
It was awesome. That was like the cherry on top of my whole Navy career, probably.
That's awesome. So far. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Because when you go into the reserves, that'll be Naval Reserve, right? So you'll still do super cool stuff there. So yeah. No, that is. Thank you for sharing that. That is really awesome, and it tells the listeners a lot of things. Number one, our naval aviators are awesome. They're on top of it. They all everyone wants to be the one who was out there that night and shot that one down. And it's just like an EOD. We all want to be the one who went downrange and took care of that explosive device, or, was on the hostage rescue mission, or whatever it is. Even though you're putting yourself in the way of danger, it's what we're trained to do, and we want to do it. We want to do what the government spent millions of dollars training us to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so boom, that happens. And then probably you landed, I would imagine, shortly thereafter, or did you go out and look for more?
I think our time was about up, and our gas probably.
Yeah.
So yeah. I got lucky.
Okay. Yeah, you don't want to run out of gas.
No, definitely not.
All right, so that's cool. So highlighted the deployment, highlighted your career, as you mentioned, and then at this point you had already gone to Naval Test Pilot School. So you come back from that deployment, then what?
From that deployment, so that's what I'm currently in still. So we got back, and then you actually get to take a breath. So that was honestly, that was a very stressful deployment. Lots of highs and lots of lows. Like the shootdown, obviously a high. That was amazing. But like seeing my friends get shot down, low.
For sure.
I had just landed. So that was a tanker flight for me, and they were also a tanker. So we had been like briefing together.
Meaning air-to-air refueling.
Yep. Yeah. So we provide fuel airborne for other F-18s. So we just put extra fuel tanks on, and they'll come to us to get a little gas, because it's a lot easier to tank off another F-18 compared to having to go to a big wing Air Force tanker. Like we're more maneuverable. We can come to them. We like understand. And it's a similar platform. Obviously.
You just don't get as much gas.
True. Yeah.
Like you'd get from a KC-135 or something.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they're loaded.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we were both tankers that night, and it was a lot of drones were coming. It had been right after the first big strike, actually, to really like kick everything off. So there was a lot of energy, a lot was going on. And then, I had just landed. I was either the first or second plane to land before we heard them. So it's called an ELT, emergency locator transmitter, I believe. So when you pull the handle, like we talked about with the ejection seats earlier, it automatically sets off this little transmitter, and it's a beeping sound on the radio. No matter what radio you're on, you have guard, so you'll hear it. And we heard just 2 of those immediately, and that's not typical. And then people started talking on the radio and saying, hey, we saw an explosion over behind the ship, and everyone just kind of goes silent. And we're obviously waiting to find out what happened,
For
like
sure.
if they're okay.
Tense moments.
Yeah, definitely. And also they were just selfishly for me, I was refueling on the flight deck to potentially launch again. And I was like, am I going to have to launch to like support finding them or to give gas to other planes that are still airborne? And like everyone's trying to figure out again, like what the next steps are going to be.
So you don't even exit the aircraft, like you don't get out and go to the bathroom and get a beef jerky and a big gulp
No,
and then
gotta,
climb back in.
You got to bring your own snacks. But yeah, that was very, very stressful moment. And like, thank God that they were okay. Like they both got recovered. Talking to them after, they weren't even sure like that they should have pulled the handle. So as they were leaving the plane, they were like, man, I hope I made the right decision.
Yeah. No kidding.
But I actually saw one of the missiles get shot and like climb over the ship.
Arc of the missile. Yeah.
So yeah,
Wow.
that was
Yeah. Fog of war, confusion, I can see where people might have that thought, but apparently they made the right decision.
yeah, literally seconds in time.
Wow. Yeah, that was an eventful deployment. I remember because I know you personally, and I haven't said this earlier, but you may have gathered we're part of a friends network, and we all hang out together quite a bit. And so when you were on that deployment, we were all checking in. How's Perm doing? And of course, when that incident happened, through mutual friends, other naval aviators were like, "Is Perm okay?" First thing everybody wanted to know. So
Thank you.
yeah, for sure. So that deployment ended, and so that kind of takes us close to present day. And like, what are you doing now? And then what's next?
Yeah. So when we got back, it was nice to just take a breath and be able to, just decompress and then start focusing on the future again. So for me, it's been a very, very hard decision to stay active duty or transition to the reserves. But ultimately, I decided I'm ready for the next chapter of my life.
Okay.
And that deployment honestly helped me decide. Like I got to do a lot of awesome things, and I just felt complete. Like I was content with my career, and
awesome.
I was like proud of all the things I got to do.
Yeah.
And just ready for a new chapter.
What a great feeling. You left nothing undone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yep. So I'm excited. I'm working on the reserves, so I won't be flying F-18s anymore.
Okay.
So that's always bittersweet because I love my plane.
Sure.
But I'll be flying still for the reserves, hopefully. I put in some applications for that. But either way, still want to keep serving with a little bit more life balance is my goal.
Gotcha. So is your reserve unit the test pilot unit?
No.
Okay.
There are options to do that, but that's just not what I'm looking into right now.
Okay.
But potentially in the future, it's not. It's more like desk job opportunities.
Okay.
In the test world, to work with like the PMAs, like program managers and things like that for like the development side versus flying. But there's potential. So I still love that world. So that kind of blends into the NASA internship that I'm working on. It's the SkillBridge program. I know you're familiar with that. So
Yeah.
Like
So just for the listeners real quick, SkillBridge is a program that the Navy has where when you're separating from the military, you can go work at a civilian organization, or in your case, another governmental organization. And although you're not, they don't pay you, you still receive your regular Navy paycheck. And please correct anything if I'm saying it wrong here, because we have SkillBridge here at iFly Virginia Beach. And so for all you SkillBridgers out there, here at iFly Virginia Beach, we're interested in talking to you for sure. Flight instructor is primarily what people are interested in the wind tunnel. But okay, so SkillBridge with NASA, and is that a done deal?
Yes. Yep. I'll start just in a couple weeks now, actually.
Really? Wow. Okay. So you'll be separated then in a couple weeks from active duty?
I'll still be active duty through SkillBridge
That's right.
until the end of May. Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
Through the end of May. But yeah, beginning of February, I'll start working out of NASA Langley.
Wow.
They do a lot of research flying.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited.
Yeah.
It feels very similar to the test world.
For sure.
So that was why it's the perfect segue, like writing test plans and developing they'll provide you the instrumentation of like what kind of data they need to collect. And then you have to figure out, cool, how do I put this instrumentation on the plane and make it still flyable? Like if I have to put it on the wing, then they're the ones, I can't say we yet, hopefully in the future, but they're the ones who will like figure out, okay, do we need like a ballast on this side to balance, or is it flyable with just this extra load on this wing and things like that? So that's the part I'm really excited for, is like still the test pilot side of things.
Yeah, that's cool.
While also supporting this research from whatever organization they're supporting at the time.
So some fun facts about NASA Langley. The engineer who developed the indoor skydiving or the vertical wind tunnel technology, his name is Mike Palmer. And he was at the time a NASA Langley engineer, a contractor who worked for a contract company. And he still lives in the area in Poquoson, Maryland. Awesome guy. Him and his wife Brenda. They're great friends of me and my wife Julie, and I fly Virginia Beach, and I love it when he comes down and visits us. And but NASA Langley, the first vertical wind tunnel, I think they called it a spin tunnel, was built at NASA Langley like late 40s, and I've got a picture of it hanging up around here somewhere. They just, within the last 2 years, maybe 3 years, they built a vertical wind tunnel using very similar technology to what we have here at iFly Virginia Beach, or the iFly technology at large, And I haven't been there. My sales and marketing, my former chief marketing officer, part of a leadership development thing she went through, which is regionally based, and you visit all these sites. She went there and she saw the tunnel and she's like, "Oh, it's so cool." So, Anyway, maybe you'll see that while you're there, and if you can get me a tour of it, I'd love it. I'd appreciate it. It'd be super cool.
Okay. That one I think I actually can do. The backseat ride, maybe not.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we'll see how that one goes. That's really exciting. Just a few things left. One of them, and I asked you this question before, and I'm going to ask you one more time, just for the benefit of the listeners. How many carrier takeoffs and landings do you have?
At this point, low 300s. I want to probably like 320-ish, I think.
Okay, Pretty cool. All uneventful? I mean, did you ever miss a wire?
That's pretty common, actually.
Really?
Yeah. So that's why we always, as soon as we feel the wheels touch down, we go back to full power, or military power is what we call it. So not like afterburner unless you really need it. But just in case your hook happens to skip a wire.
Yeah.
So you could have a perfect pass and land like right where you should, but it's such a heavy metal object on the end of this pole that it bounces off the flight deck. So sometimes it can literally just bounce over the wire. So if you go around, you just come back and try again.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's interesting. I did a carrier deployment and I didn't realize, I mean, I've seen the misses, but we just think it's because the pilot's all jacked up.
Yeah, it could be that too.
So that's Perm. That is so fun and so exciting. And so as you go into the reserves, then is it the typical 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks a year? Is that kind of the, your military schedule going forward?
That's what I'm expecting. Yeah. If I get accepted to the squadron I'm hoping for, then they do about 1 month detachments. I think each year.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm not sure the rotation schedule, honestly, but I'll have to go on some of those.
Okay.
But honestly, I'm excited for that part. Like 1 month sounds good. Like I still want to, like I said, support and be connected without having to do the 8 or 9 month deployments.
Yeah. Right. And so on those 1 months, could you be flying anything? Like, do you know what you'll be flying?
If I get this squadron, then it'll be C-40s. So like the military 737 equivalent.
Exactly. Okay. And the reason I asked that is when I was stationed in Italy, whenever we would go anywhere in Europe, it was, it wasn't C9. It was a C9 back then. Okay. But they basically, C9 is a 727 or something like that. I mean, it's a commercial jetliner. It's a commercial passenger jetliner. And they would come to Italy and Sigonella, Naval Air Station Sigonella, pick us up and take us to Denmark or take us to the Netherlands or take us to Israel, take us wherever we were going. And
Yeah.
it was always the reserve. It was a reserve squadron, I guess is the point I'm making.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds exactly like what I'll hopefully be doing. Again,
Okay.
the board is literally the end of this month. So
Okay.
if anyone's listening, please pick me.
That's cool. And then a lot of our jump ops out of C-130s were reserve squadrons as well. Mainly,
nice.
it was really, really fun.
Even overseas?
Overseas, I don't remember any reserve squadrons doing jump ops. It was all just, transport basically.
Okay.
But in the U.S., I used to run air operations for the EOD training unit. So we would go to these conferences and arrange all these reserve aircraft, schedule it out for a year.
Yeah.
And do all that. So super fun. What are you going to do during the other 3-4 weeks out of the month and out of the rest of the year? What are you going to do when you're not being a naval aviator?
Well, I'm hoping the NASA internship turns into a job offer, ideally, right now.
Nice.
I'm also putting in airline applications to have that as an option. I love to travel and I love flying. That's my ultimate goal, is to just keep flying really as long as I can.
Okay.
So lots of friends in the airlines, and the travel would be awesome. And I feel like I'm ready to transition from being like the tip of the spear to a support role. So some people might laugh at me, but even just like getting people where they need to go sounds nice to
You're
me,
flying.
honestly.
You're
I'm flying, I'm having fun.
Yeah.
These people get to go where they want to go.
For sure.
And that sounds good at this point. And, but also I asked you questions about this before, like looking into getting into business potentially.
Sure.
So franchising I'm looking into. I would like to get an MBA eventually, use a GI Bill, something to get a master's.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's kind of where the two paths are diverging right now. I'm hoping, that would be great to be able to do whatever kind of flying combined with business. So hoping to learn a lot from you about that for sure.
Yeah, okay.
But looking into some franchise options right now. And I just love the community here. So being able to grow in this area sounds awesome.
Here being Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Yes.
So
everyone come to Virginia Beach.
Yeah, thanks. And as I often say on the podcast, we're broadcasting from the studios high atop iFly Virginia Beach, down at the oceanfront on Pacific Avenue. And then from our facility, we have a beautiful view of the ocean. And we have a wind tunnel down on the second floor where people fly and have a great time. Speaking of which, you flew in the wind tunnel for the first time, 9 months ago, something like that. Tell us about as a naval aviator, as somebody who basically an astronaut, as somebody who knows all of the characteristics, the complex math and characteristics behind flight. What was your iFly flight experience like?
It was honestly so fun. I was hoping you would ask me that because it was awesome. I've gotten to go skydiving a couple times, tandem, and obviously fly a lot. But this was just such a different kind of excitement. Like you just feel it's just you in the tunnel. And I didn't really know what to expect going into it because I was comparing it to skydiving. And I was like, I wonder if it's going to be as fun because that's actually jumping out of an airplane. But when I got in there, I could not stop smiling.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is just so much fun. And you're controlling it and doing the little spins and stuff. And it was such a blast. And even just now I'm smiling again thinking about it.
For sure.
But I've been trying to get my squadron to come in for a group event.
That's right.
And I still need to do that.
Okay.
But it was so fun.
Yeah.
I recommend it to anybody if you want a little burst of adrenaline.
Kids as young as 3, and our oldest flyer was 94 years old. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, everybody in between. So, in the smile, it happens because most people have had the dream of flight, and this is literally that dream coming true. And I actually have a scientist coming up in a couple weeks. We call him Dr. Deep Sea. Dr. Joe Dituri, and he's a former Navy diver, but now he's a PhD researcher and hyperbaric medicine and cold water therapy, and he spent 100 days underwater in an underwater habitat. This guy's done a lot. But when he comes up here, obviously he's going to fly. He already flies in a tunnel. He knows what he's doing. But where I'm going with this is, I know because I see that smile in 90% of our customers, and there's an endorphin release. There's an oxytocin. There's a serotonin. Probably it's every feel-good chemical that your brain is capable of releasing happens during that flight experience.
I believe that.
Yeah, yeah, it's really cool. Okay, couple more things. One is leadership. This is the Elevate Your Leadership podcast, and you've experienced leaders throughout your career. You've certainly led in various capacities throughout your, at this point, I'm going to say short career because you're still very young. But how would you, when you hear the word leadership, what do you think of? How do you think of leadership? How do you define the word leadership?
I think that's a really hard question. But for me, let me just start with like a good leader. For me, someone who can bring everyone together to be on the same team and want to be on the same team. Like people who just try to lead, quote unquote, by just making people do things.
Mm-hmm.
Like that to me isn't a good leader.
Like
That's
position and authority.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like just threatening people to make them do it because I told them to, versus making everyone feel connected and in support of something, and then they want to do well and they want to do what you're asking them to do because they feel like they're part of something.
For sure.
Like I think, that's what I picture.
Yeah.
For the ideal leader.
I think you hit it. So it's, in the official leadership development realm, we call that commitment versus compliance.
Yeah.
Right. You want committed teammates who understand the mission and they're fully on board. They want to be the one to shoot that drone down, and so I think you define that very well. Last question, is there anything that I haven't asked you? Is there anything we haven't discussed that you think is important to share with listeners as a naval aviator, as a badass female naval aviator, as somebody who's going to walk on the moon in the future, or maybe Mars, walking on Mars?
I don't know about Mars. I want to come home eventually. Let's see. I guess for anyone who's considering going into naval aviation, I 100% would recommend it. If you want a challenge, something that's dynamic, it's mentally challenging, it's physically challenging, it's an awesome team experience because the group you're working with is always relatively small. I 100% recommend it. Like people a lot are asking me, well, why don't you just stay in for the last 7 years? Like that's not that long. Mm-hmm. And I mean, totally up to you based on what your definition of long is or not.
Yeah.
But I just don't want anyone to think that I don't appreciate everything. Like it's been such an awesome experience. I don't regret anything. If I could go back to the beginning, I would 100% do it again. And I'm so fortunate that like we talked about, the pathway, that I got to go to the Naval Academy, got a flight spot, and was fortunate enough to get a jet spot. Like it's been amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm excited for the next chapter, but it's definitely bittersweet. Kind of, I don't want to say for completely closing the book, but moving away from that former
exactly.
chapter.
Kind of like I did, retired from active duty Navy Special Operations, but I'm still pretty connected to the boys, as we say, to the teams, and so it's really awesome, and it's a great evolution, and you're going to absolutely love it.
Thank you.
All right. Big Perm, naval aviator, future business mogul, and potential astronaut. Thank you so much for visiting the Elevate Your Leadership podcast today.
Yeah, anytime. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Elevate Your Leadership podcast. To contact Bob directly or to learn more about how Bob can advance you and your organization through leadership training, team building, executive coaching, and public speaking, visit robertpizzini.com. Robert, Pizzini.com, and connect with him on LinkedIn.